every day. And I mean every paper, every day.
Yes, indeed. Every paper, every day. And there were a lot of them. Starting with just a single paper, the San Francisco Examiner, which belonged to his father. William Randolph Hearst built an enormous news media empire, which at its peak boasted radio stations, magazines. But to understand the real story, you have to go way back. Before the chief, that's what he was called, before he was even born. It began with his father, George. George Hearst was a successful farmer and a dreamer of ambitious dreams. He was one of those rare individuals who was brave enough to follow their heart. Native Americans who watched him as a boy exploring the hills of Missouri called him Boy the Earth Talked to. That name would come to have significance in the years ahead. George left Missouri in 1850, was telling him something. Telling him it was different than that. The problem was, to prove it, he had to take the ore over the Sierra Mountains to have it smelted. A 300-mile journey over dangerous, snow-covered passes. Most men were not willing to risk it, but his feeling about this ore was so strong that it pushed him on, and despite everything, he and his partner hauled 38 tons of ore that everyone else said was lead, hauled it over. It had cost more than $500 a ton to haul that ore over the mountains and have it refined, but the earth he'd listened to had lied to him. That 38 tons of lead was silver, worth more than $2,000 a ton, $58,000 a ton in today's money. He was nearly 40 years old. His first day on the road to becoming one of the richest men in the world. With his newfound wealth, he bought land. Thousands and thousands of acres of land. First, he purchased 48,000 that were part of the Piedra Blanca Ranch. And then, over the years, he added to that land, building up a cattle ranching operation that became one of the largest in California, covering more than 390 square miles. His son would grow up to love the most. The rugged mountains overlooking tiny San Simeon Bay. Young William Hearst spent some of the happiest days of his boyhood in this land. Every year at different seasons, tents and provisions were hauled up from below to a hilltop where a camp was established. They called the place Camp Hill, but Camp Hill was special to him as more than just a place to camp. It sat right in the middle of California's central coast, an untamed stretch of land that runs along the edge of the Pacific from Ventura to Santa Cruz. He came to know it well. William's love of nature began along this coast as he explored places like Point Lobos and McQuay Cove. spend a month here than any place in the world. And thanks to an adventure he was about to have with his mother, he knew what he was talking about. It was an experience that would chart the course of much of his life to come. His mother, Phoebe Apperson-Hearst, was also a Missourian, only 19 years old and working as a school teacher when she married the newly rich George Hearst. She was an amazing woman, a woman of vision and sophistication, determined to see her great dreams come to pass. One of those dreams was to see the world and to make the great cultures of faraway places an integral part of her life. And she wanted the same for her young son. In 1873, when he was just 10 years old, young William and his mother embarked on a year-and-a-half-long European journey of discovery. The Grand Tour, they called it. It was an experience that changed their lives, hers and his. And walking through the mystic fields of Stonehenge. They stood in wonder at what they saw within the walls of the great cathedrals of Westminster and Canterbury. Above them, on the mountain cliffs, were the fortress homes of the German barons, snow-covered and brooding. They must have seemed like a fairy tale come alive. Young William loved Switzerland. He would watch for hours the gears, the hammers, the circulating mechanical animals, the rooster and the fool, as Bern's medieval clock struck the hour. One they weren't prepared for. The city was built on islands carved out by All of us have images that stay with us, things that we see that we never forget, that become an intrinsic part of who we are. Well, there were images from that trip to Europe that were beginning to settle forever in his bright young mind. Images of castles and hilltops. Images of great figures carved from stone. Images of paintings and mosaics, delicate glass. Powerful, lasting images, and he was beginning to feel himself at one with them.